I've been using Cisco RV042s for almost 4 years. Here are my conclusions and recommendations based on my experiences. 1. It's easy-ish to use. The basic operation is very easy. It exposes fairly advanced features without complexity, especially compared to the open source alternatives. And the help system is very useful. However, until you get it to work as you want, it can drive you madly frustrated. The log files are not very useful, the error messages are very vague, especially when you are configuring VPN tunnels. 2. There's Gigabit Ethernet model if you need. It's a shameful money grab having to pay more for it, but if you have fast internet, you would definitely need one. Besides a firmware release that thankfully Cisco has pulled out of their page, the Cisco RV042 is a very stable device. It really won't give you any headache. As I mentioned before, it goes very well at home. Many of us have limited space and partners who won't always support our computer projects. Having a small quiet device can help avoiding arguments. 5th, it is still supported. Now and then Cisco releases a new firmware for our enjoyment. Security fixes are always published, however slowly. There are even new features added in the past, like the DNS proxy functionality I mentioned during our tutorial videos. Now to the cons. Security will be a concern soon. Patches are published, but it seems to me that the core of the operating system, the Linux kernel, is not being updated. Also, a few aspects of IPsec don't look very reliable to the long-term future, and I'm not even sure it will support IPv6 tunnels, even though the router itself supports it and VPN standard may not be essential in an IPv6 world. VPN client access is very limited. The only easy and reliable way of accessing your network remotely is to use PPTP, and this is a very insecure way, not even supported in the newest releases of, for example, iOS. The Cisco Quick VPN client is horrible and does not work reliably with anything newer than Windows XP, and there is no client for Macs or Linux. VPN client access could work with open source IPsec clients, but the configuration is very temperamental, full of variables, and I've never managed to make it work via 3G or behind net. Well, 3G is also behind net or carrier grade net, but never works. It tries to connect, negotiates a connection, there are always cryptic error messages. The first VPN IPsec connection happens, but the second phase fails. Very complicated. And lastly, this router can be a bottleneck. Routing performance is really great, but if you have multiple high bandwidth locations, it won't give you the fastest site-to-site performance. In my particular case, where none of the locations has more than 2 megabits of upstream bandwidth, it's not a concern, but for you it may be. During our series, we are going to optimize our services to run well with a very low amount of available bandwidth, so this should not be a concern for us. So, if you're starting today, I would go for something like a Raspberry Pi or even a virtual router and run one of the available open source options. We are going to cover them during our series. However, if you're really keen in easy of use and a recognized brand and can pick up a cheap used one, why not?